Bayern's Champions League star faces a tough choice. Dybala could be on the move. Frankfurt planning Jovic bid, a transfer roundup, and today's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, here with the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and remember the name, Jamal Musiala, the 17-year-old who is causing waves at Bayern Munich. Last night, he became the youngest English goal scorer in the history of the competition, beating Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's record as he scored in Bayern's 4-1 victory over Lazio. As for the game itself, I've been saying for the last few weeks, there's no way Lazio had a chance. They're a good team, they're just not quite Bayern Munich. I didn't expect Bayern to put in such a convincing first leg performance, but they did, and they're pretty much through. Anyway, Musiala scoring a goal has definitely put him into the headlines, and he's got a rather big decision to make about who he's going to play for internationally. Germany have definitely set out the stall and say they want him in their first team squad, but he's also available for England and could play for Nigeria as well. With a few international games coming up at the end of March, it looks like he will have to make his decision rather quickly because he could face a call-up, and we all know once you're playing a competitive fixture, you are tied to that nation forever. Now, at the moment, there's no reason why both sides wouldn't want him. He's an exciting young attacker, but it's not like club football. It's not like you can sign him and then if things don't work out, shift him off for a bit more money, load him out and get him some more experience. Once a national team has brought him in, that's it. And imagine if they took away this opportunity and then later on in his career, maybe he's not good enough for the German squad, but he is for the English squad. It is a really, really difficult decision to make. And at this point, if I were him, I'd probably turn down both. I just don't really think there's much need. If you're a kid, and don't get me wrong, he's obviously very, very talented and, I'm sure aspire to reach the top of football. But what is the point of dedicating yourself to one national team when you're only going to come on for the last 10 minutes in the Euro qualifier just so that team can then stop the other ones from getting their hands on you? You might as well just improve in first team football at club level, and when you're finally ready to make a decision in a few years, step onto the international stage. I really don't think there's much rush for a 17-year-old. There's also not much financial pressure. I can understand if you make the move at 17 years old because a big club is offering you huge life-changing money, but that's not really the case for the national team. Next up, and Juventus director Fabio Paratici has said that contract discussions between Paulo Dybala and the club are not yet on the table, but there have been some preliminary talks. They haven't exactly offered him a contract extension as of yet, and well, it looks like they're going to kind of need to because the Argentinian playmaker's contract runs out in the summer of 2022. Of course, they don't want to be losing such a talented player for free, so they may have to eventually sell him in the summer. This has meant that these, contract negotiations, which may or may not be happening at the moment, are having a lot of interest from the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Barcelona, Spurs and Real Madrid as they all look to make a move in what would be a very, very good deal financially. A few years ago, he was linked with a move away to Tottenham, and apparently he already recorded a goodbye message to all of his teammates because he was that certain that he would be leaving the club. That obviously didn't happen, and since then his form's kind of been up and down. This season he's either been out of form or he's been injured, and he's only managed a couple of goals and assists, and this has led me finally to one of two conclusions, and I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. So either A, without Paulo Dybala, Juventus are really struggling, which they are. They're 8 points off the top of the league, and maybe the club can see that. And if so, if they're struggling without him, they desperately need him in the team. They're going to need him in the future when Cristiano Ronaldo eventually retires. Lord knows when that will be, or leaves the club. Then they best sign him up to a brand new, very expensive long-term contract right now. But on the flip side of things, if they don't think he's going to fit in, if he's not reliable because he's going to be injured or out of form, and he's also got a contract running out 2022, then maybe they're not going to offer him a new contract. And maybe they really would be better off just selling him and getting some sort of money for him in the summer. They've basically got to weigh up the differences between the two, and having seen his ability, but then also knowing that he could be injured or prone to a drop in form, I wouldn't know what decision to make, so it's a good job I'm not in that position. Of course, you guys, as always, and as with everything on the Daily News, let me know your thoughts below. And by the way, whilst you're at it, subscribe. I know we just passed 500k, but we're well on our way to 1 million, so let's get there that little bit quicker. Anyway, moving on, and talking on transfers, this summer could see a big deal in Manchester United and with Frankfurt. That is because the German side are apparently looking to raise some funds to bring back Jovic. For this, I'm not too sure why. Here's the deal. They've got Andre Silva at the moment with 18 goals in 20 Bundesliga games. He is second to Robert Lewandowski in the goal-scoring charts and is firing Frankfurt up the table. At the moment, it looks like they could be in with a good shout for the Champions League places. He's done so well, in fact, that there are a few clubs who are looking at his signature, one of them being Manchester United. At the moment, Andre Silva seems to be bang out of form. There's rumours that Edinson Cavani may actually leave the club and not extend his contract. Well, they're going to need a new striker to lead the front line. That could be Andre Silva, and the reason being is because any money they get for him, are apparently around 30 to 35 million euros, will then be spent on Luka Jovic. Bringing Jovic back to Frankfurt in January was obviously a good deal, but since then he hasn't exactly set the world on fire. Like, yeah, he scored a couple of goals in his first few appearances, but since then it's still, and always has been, about Andre Silva. He's obviously the better of the two, and they know if there's going to be huge interest in him and he wants to move on, they might as well sell him, bring in some money, and then bring Jovic back. Real Madrid aren't too keen on selling him, especially as they paid 60 million for him, so they're probably not going to want to accept a really low fee after spending that much on him initially. But like I mentioned before, Frankfurt are going to want a striker. Personally, I think the club are definitely going to hedge their bets on Silva, but as we mentioned before, if he's going to leave, and if he's going to want to leave, and if Frankfurt don't make the Champions League and a big team comes in and offers him a lot of money, I'm pretty sure they're going to end up taking it. As for Manchester United, they've been linked with a whole hatful of strikers this summer, and I'm sure Andre Silva will be just one of many names thrown around on the Manchester United transfer rumour mill. Next up then, a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news that you might have missed, and Dortmund have drawn up a centre-back transfer shortlist of 3 names, one of them including Fiorentina's Nikola Milenkovic. Elsewhere, and Celtic manager Neil Lennon has resigned, with his side way off Steven Gerrard's Rangers in the title race. It just goes to show that when things don't go their way, Celtic get a little bit annoyed. Elsewhere, and Jesse Lingard's move from Manchester United to West Ham could be made permanent in the summer. At least that's what West Ham and David Moyes want, although Leicester are also interested. And lastly but not least, if Hugo Lloris is to leave Spurs and reunite with his former manager Mauricio Pochettino at PSG, Tottenham will look to Burnley's Nick Pope. Lastly then, we come to this week's great debate. This is where the guys and girls in the OneFootball newsroom set a question for all of you, and you can find my answer and their answer in the relevant article in the OneFootball app. But for the comment section down below, they want to know, who is the greatest team you have ever seen? Now, of course, you could either go with results, or you could go with pure beauty and entertainment that you just love watching. It is completely subjective, but in my opinion, it has to be that Barcelona team. The one in 2009 that won all 6 trophies available. And even though Bayern Munich have just matched that feat, there was just something about the way Barcelona did it. Not only was it in the way that Pep Guardiola was promoted, but he promoted a few B-team players as well, including Sergio Busquets, and then just literally revolutionised, might be a little bit of a strong word, but popularised so many of today's tactics which just seem to be taken for granted. Literally, there are so many teams in Germany, in Spain, and in England who have all seen Pep Guardiola completely dominate with the side and then take over all of the tactics that he has brought to the table, and no more so than what he put on display into 2008-2010. He was a tactical genius. The players were insane. Messi in the false 9 role. There was also Samuel Eto'o was in insane form. Thierry Henry, Ronaldinho, Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, Carlos Puyol, the PK game back as well, Victor Valdez, Dani Alves. The whole team, there's probably a load more names that I've missed out. They were so good. In fact, they weren't just winning games, they were game changing. So there you have it. There's my answer for the great debate. You guys let me know yours. Check out everything else we've got going on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.